welcome back to my channel, and this week I'm sharing another art time-lapse of a piece I had drawn for a calendar my friends and I put together. If you didn't see it already, I posted a previous video of the drawing I had done for the month of February. I'll put that card of that video up on the top right corner, but I also had to do March, and so this is what I came up with. I was binging tons of K-dramas again that made me super emotional, and so I opted to draw something with a sad vibe. So this was my first idea, a girl who's crying and looking up towards the sky while it's raining, but I didn't quite like how stiff it looked, and so I scrapped that for something similar, but more of a downcast gaze instead. So sometimes when I draw, things come out looking okay, which is the case here, because I don't remember needing to spend too long drawing this out. Usually my first few passes have wonky anatomy or face structures or whatever, and then half the time is me liquefying or trying to make sense of what I'm trying to draw. This one kind of just flowed well. So I'm just continuing to sketch this out, and I was pretty excited to draw something a little bit darker. I'm always drawn to melancholy scenes and artwork. I've bought a lot of artwork from artists that have these kind of moody vibes and wanted to do my own. Also, there's just something aesthetic about drawing umbrellas, so I had to include one in this piece. Here, I'm considering to put a billboard of some kind in the background with a message, but I think I just got lazy to properly draw it out to where it fit as a background. So I went simpler and put a basic cityscape and used the bokeh brush for city lights. And then I went ahead and recolored the lines for the umbrella to be white to indicate that it's going to be basically a bubble umbrella or a clear umbrella. I've always wanted a clear umbrella for myself, like in real life, but I just never got around to getting one. So here we are, my favorite part, finalizing the line art. I don't know what it is, but I always like drawing the ear as visible and hair tucked behind. And of course, short hair, because I just love that look on characters. You'll see me making so many changes as to how the tips of her hair will look. I kept changing it because I couldn't figure out a hair profile that looked nice to me without the strands looking way too random or going in random directions. Although I suppose it's fine that it looks kind of messy since it's raining out and the way she's holding the umbrella isn't really covering her that well. I did try to make the hair towards her face kind of wavy just for that reason, like her hair was a bit wet. But now I'm finalizing the clothes and I'm quite happy with how the folds turned out. I must have used a reference for this or something because I'm quite impressed, particularly with the scarf. I don't normally trust myself whenever it comes to drawing clothing folds, mostly because I definitely haven't studied it as much as I should have. So that's why I'm like thinking, I must have been looking at a reference for this, which, you know, pro tip, definitely use references if you ever need help on figuring out how to draw a particular thing, especially wrinkles in clothes. Another tip that I need to remind myself to spend time on doing is refining my line art more than I already do, meaning thickening some areas where lines converge and incorporating line weights, and these things really can make a difference and give more life to lines. So here comes the start of drawing out the umbrella, and I have to say that some of the lines got me a bit confused on how to draw them, like the metal frame and structure of the umbrella under the fabric. So whenever I'm confused on how to draw something in a particular angle or perspective, I tend to draw it off to the side, and then I'll scale it up or down and try to fit it in with the overall piece, which is what you're seeing here. Adding the breath lines, the tears, and then the rain really made the piece for me. Like as soon as I drew those in, it felt complete. So sometimes it's the little details, like the raindrops on the hair and on the umbrella that tie everything together. Honestly, seeing it just like this in grayscale with white lines to represent the water really makes me happy. Adding a few more lightly drawn lines here and there in the clothes and then in the hair, and we're basically ready to move on to colors. But like I mentioned, the clothes were Eun-tak's clothes and the backpack as well from the K-drama Goblin. This was what I was watching, or actually rewatching, because I have seen this one so many times now. Every time I rewatch it, I get obsessed all over again. Mostly because of Gong Yoo, anybody? But also because the story and acting are really great. The opening song was living rent-free in my head for the longest time. But do any of you watch K-dramas? Let me know in the comments below if you have a favorite. But now I've started shading her skin, which there's not too much to do here since she's mostly covered up. I actually do really enjoy shading skin, and maybe in another piece I'll be able to really get into skin rendering. But here I'm also starting to shade the clothes and deepening some of those shadows. Honestly, there's not too much to say here except that I'm just throwing down colors to give everything a bit more dimension. Let me know what you think of my process so far, maybe in some other videos that you've seen of mine, and which part of the drawing process you enjoy doing the most, whether it's the sketch or concept phase, the line phase like me, the color phase, lighting, or any combination of these. Decide what color to do the background, so you'll see throughout this portion of the video I kept switching it between gray, black, blue, and then a greenish color later on, which is somewhat opposite of the red color on the scarf. I'm no color theory expert, so I just thought this color looked nice, to be honest. You'll see in a little bit that I also opted to add a reddish gradient to the lower half of the sky. I'm doing that multiply technique for the dramatic lighting, where I create a separate layer, fill it with a dark color, set it to multiply, and then erase where I want to portray that harsh lighting. And as you saw, I added a bit of an outer glow to her outline coming from the city lights, and you know that foggy look when it's raining? That's what I was trying to do. I also thought about doing lighting from a lamppost, but scrapped that idea. But now we're done. I hope you enjoyed following along while I rambled about my process, and you watched this piece from start to finish. I'd appreciate it if you liked, subscribed, and hit that notification bell so you know whenever I upload, which is every Monday. I hope you look forward to my next video. Take care.